Oh, Mr. Review Tech USA, I thought you weren't going to talk about Switch Pro rumors anymore. And every day it's Review Switch Pro USA. Review Switch Pro USA. How about you stop doing this? What do you say? I say no, especially if your name is Jay. Let's go by the bay. We could stay there all day.
Skip it up and that up.
So, if you want to know why I've changed my stance on talking about the Nintendo Switch Pro, is because this time Nintendo themselves are not disavowing it. They used to in the past before when there was a bunch of rumors in 2020. They were like, yeah, no new hardware, so stop. When the Nintendo Switch Lite was coming, they said absolutely nothing. And then, boom, we had a Nintendo Switch Lite. The rumors were building, but they didn't disavow them. And this time, Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa didn't say, yeah, Switch Pro is coming. But what he did say is that, look, we're really in a good stride. We don't want the Switch to get stale, so we need to do something to freshen it up. I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what he said. And like I said last time when there were Switch Pro rumors or a more powerful Switch rumor coming out and everyone was talking about it, Nintendo straight up said, no, Chief, we're not coming out with new hardware. Stop. The Switch right now is what we want to sell. It has plenty of life in it. Go away. They didn't really say that either, but they may as well have. Well, the Switch Pro rumors have been ramping up. We heard about it having a 7-inch 720p OLED display. I've explained why, even though it's a lower resolution, why I'm perfectly fine with that. You have a more powerful SoC. Having to push around less pixels means you'll get a smoother frame rate, you'll get better battery life, and because it's OLED, it'll still look gorgeous. I've heard speculation in terms of performance. We've heard it's going to have deep learning super sampling because obviously, again, they're going to go with an NVIDIA SoC or system on a chip, which deep learning super sampling is AI tech that can reconstruct a lower resolution image, say for example 1080p, and reconstruct it to be 4K and run at a higher resolution. It's not just upscaling. As a matter of fact, DLSS 2.0, deep learning super sampling, the second version, actually can make a reconstructed 4K image look better than if a game was natively running at 4K in some instances, which is pretty nuts. And I'm hearing that the new Nintendo Switch or Switch Pro, whatever the hell they're going to call it, is going to have power on par with a PlayStation 4, which is for a portable console. Look, I play my Switch mostly in portable mode. For a portable or hybrid console is pretty impressive. There are some rumors out there that they're saying when the console is docked, it could be as capable as a PS4 Pro, which would be quite impressive. But I heard that was just speculation from an insider. They had no information to back that up, so that could be entirely wrong. Either way, it's going to be an impressive step up from the current generation Switch. Well, anyway, there's now more evidence of a new Nintendo Switch coming because from the United States Patent and Trademark Office, Nintendo filed a patent for new Joy-Cons. And I'll read this to you from comicbook.com. We'll discuss. And there's really no difference except for one key difference. And we'll get into that. Anyway, here we go. The new controller for the new heavily rumored Nintendo Switch Pro, sometimes referred to as the Super Nintendo Switch, I hope they go with that name because it would be awesome, may have just leaked online courtesy of a new patent from Nintendo. The patent comes the way of the United States Patent and Trademark Office, which is an agency within the U.S. Department of Commerce that, like its name suggests, issues and awards patents. As for the patent itself, it appears to be for a new form of Joy-Con controller, which at a quick glance looks no different from the current Joy-Con controller, but as you could see from the image below taken from the patent, the new Joy-Con patent features both the circle pad and classic D-pad. And here you go. Here is the image that was included in the patent. And yeah, if it looks so much the same as the other Joy-Cons that if they didn't point out the D-pad, I would have derped over it. But yeah, it looks identical to the current Switch Joy-Cons, but they put on a D-pad. And thank God. Even if that's the only thing they changed with the Switch Pro Joy-Cons, I always remember, like, I was really excited for the Switch when I realized that Nintendo was doing a lot of things right with it, and I took it out of the box back. This is in 2017 when it first came out, and I was like, this is what they want you to use as a D-pad. Like, I get it. They're like, hey, if you want to play Mario Kart with a friend, you take one piece of the Joy-Con, they take the other piece, and you have a controller in each of your hands. You could even do that with Streets of Rage as well, but the buttons as a D-pad do not work. Like, they work, and you could begrudgingly play a game with them, but I actually have the Hori Joy-Cons that you use. Those actually have a D-pad on them, so if I'm playing a platformer game or a 2D game that requires a D-pad, or a D-pad is the much better route to go, I don't use the Joy-Cons with those games. I mean, the Joy-Cons are fine with, like, if I play Doom or something like that, but with those games, no, it's not it, Chief. And I understand what Nintendo is trying to do on paper, because if you use one Joy-Con, a friend uses it, you have the same layout of buttons, but most people didn't do that. And my 4-year-old son, who's 4 years old, the control, like, I'm sitting there playing Streets of Rage with him, Streets of Rage 4, and no, even his hands are too big for it. And he's a little kid, you know, it just, they were trying to do something cool on paper. It didn't work out. I think Nintendo realizes it, and this is why they filed this patent, because they're like, yeah, that's one thing we have to change with the Switch Pro. But all in all, look, between Nintendo not disavowing the rumors like they've done last time when there was no console coming, between all the other stuff coming out from the Wall Street Journal, from Bloomberg and everything like that, there is a new console coming, and I'm pretty excited for it. Nintendo made me a firm believer in the Switch, and I've just noticed in, like, the past, I would say, year and a half, that it's tough to get games to run well on it. Anytime there's a lot of enemies on the screen, you look at games like The Outer Worlds, it just can't. Like, you have at the time when the Switch came out, it was a 2-year-old SoC, the Tegra X1, and it's a quad-core ARM chip with Tegra with NVIDIA graphics on it that came out in 2015. And one of those cores is actually allocated to the operating system, so the developers only have access to 3 of those anemic ARM cores. And I'm not saying it's anemic because it's ARM. Obviously, the M1 processor from Apple disavows that, but it's an older chip. So when you're trying to stream assets from a big world like the Outer Worlds, from an open world game, the Switch struggles. And on top of it, too, it's also memory bandwidth issues. The LPDDR4 memory that's inside of the Nintendo Switch is slow. So when you have to stream assets off of there, and the processor and the GPU needs to get whatever they need to get from the memory, it's slow and it bottlenecks it. So it is time for a new Switch. It is time for a new piece of hardware. And hopefully it's affordable, and hopefully if Nintendo continues to sell the other Switch, which I'm sure they will, that console doesn't hold games back on the new Nintendo Switch. That's my one concern. But either way, I'm excited for this new piece of hardware, and I think it's time, and I think most of you would agree that we need a new, more powerful Switch. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one. Hey, if you enjoy my content, consider becoming a Review Tech USA member. I'll have a link below in the description. I live stream now on this channel all the time, and it gives you access to cool emoticons to use as well while I live stream. Again, link below in the description. Thank you for your continued support.